Um, let's talk about to this guy right here.
Yeah.
Had a chance to
I was at GDC.
he's at GDC, and boy are your arms tired.
Yeah.
No,
I had a chat with Raw Fury, the publisher, and they were showing off a new game from one of the devs that they're working with.
you want me to find a video on YouTube?
Yeah, do that because it's probably gonna be better than what I have. But yeah, so it was a neat thing because I had not done this. The dev is Stitchheads. I only said the publisher, but the stuff that they had set up was really neat because obviously I was not at GDC. I was in fact working from the office that week, but it was neat because it was the most intensive preview that I've ever had the opportunity to actually ever to do, and it's been a long time since I've done one, so it was an interesting experience. But anyway, so the game Superfuse was announced yesterday, Wednesday. The Raw Fury put out their first PR blast about it. Embargo lifted earlier today, as far as the folks who got a chance to play the demo version or the kind of preview build that they had out. And yeah, it's a fun time. It's a ARPG, aka Diablo style, comic book cell shaded aesthetic, which is on display there. It's what you would expect out of a game where you get to put a lot of enemies on screen and then clear them from the screen one after the other. You get numbers for every hit that you do, which is one of my favorite things about playing these games personally. So the real standout things is comic book influences and aesthetics, and then Superfuse is kind of right on the nose as far as what the part of the loop of the game is, which is
the numbers right there,
the fusing of abilities and then passive and active traits through the core mechanic of the game, where you're literally kind of custom building each individual character's abilities through the modifications, or augments, whatever you want to call them. So they don't really show that on the video there. I don't know if there's any other one. I had access. Let's see. I'm literally looking at the B-roll that I have access to, and whether or not it shows anything good. It does. There's not much for the skill tree, but unless.
So you said it's an ARPG, right? So there is a skill tree. You can upgrade.
There's a skill tree. There's a level system. Like I said, just like there's a grid inventory. If you've ever played Diablo, you know what the grid inventory looks like. There's tiers of quality of weapons. You go from common to rare, etc. And yeah, so there's 5 classes, and then each class has a set number of abilities. And then, like I said, you augment those abilities. Not super clear on how those augments happen, if they're pickups, if they're purchase, or whatever. So some of the details that I got, game really kind of got kicked off in September. So relatively young. So relatively speaking, we're still pretty early in the process. But in some regards, it felt a lot more like Path of Exile, which is, if you've ever played that. So I don't want to make it sound like it is Path of Exile, but with Path of Exile, one of the things that is the hallmarks of that game is that abilities are gems. So that's not where the similarities are. Where the similarities are is that you customize the abilities by slotting in kind of like passive or active gems alongside your abilities, and that augments the ability that it's slotted in with. Superfuse works in a similar way where you have an ability, and then that ability has its own subtree, and then you basically slot in almost like these runes in there, and on top of everything else, it can the runes have different placements, whether it's on cast, on hit, at the end of the ability. It was a really cool system. I did not there was not enough time for me to really get through everything that was there in the 30-ish minutes that I had. But yeah, it's cool.
Awesome. Yeah, it's always tough when you see previews for games sometimes that are just brand new and you haven't had time to digest. Sometimes we'll get a chance to preview a game that was announced months prior. But now you're kind of thrown into it. And I know there's only so much you can actually say because of some of the embargo stuff, and they're still so early in development. Like you said, it's only September. But I love me some comic book ARPGs. Like the Ultimate Alliance games are great.
Yeah.
Ultimate Alliance 3 on the Switch. Highly recommend getting it because it's a hell of a lot of fun. And
this is nice because it leans into some of that stuff where the powers are comic book y.
Yes.
I only got to play as one class, so there's 4 other classes that I have no. It's not even that I can't tell you. I just don't know. And like I said, when you can adjust them to such the degree as what is already available there, and we still got a long ways to go, they are probably going to feel pretty comic book powery. It's made for 4-person co-op.
Oh, cool.
And so, even if 2 people made the same class, they're probably not going to do the same thing because of the way that you customize. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so setting is far future. Old Earth almost got destroyed.
So it could be today, really.
It could be. Well, let me tell you, the similarities don't stop there. The rich elite basically were quote unquote forced to. They ended up being the saviors of the world because they were the only people that had money. And then after people had to leave Earth to find refuge in space, that only solidified the power of the rich elite, and then they used that status to make themselves gods and immortal. So
okay.
Pretty standard stuff for where we're at.
Pretty standard stuff. No, I like it. It looks but
yeah, it's
sorcery stuff, which I'm excited about. So it's good.
Yeah, no, it's cool. I think it'll be on my watch list because there's always more room for another ARPG for me, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, ARPGs are just so good. And it's going to be great on your Steam Deck as well, which you're hopefully going to be on the list pretty soon. Hopefully, check those emails.
That's the big news. I mean, I'll tell you what. What's funny is that as much as I've talked about, I have never done a post on sidequesting.com about the Steam Deck. I think my first post is going to be the day that I get my Steam Deck email, and it's literally just going to say that I ordered my Steam Deck, and that's going to be my first Steam Deck post.
Perfect. Cool. Superfuse. Yeah, awesome.